Hello, hello, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And it's a privilege to be here with you today and be able to introduce you to my dear, dear friend, mentor, and colleague, Debra Morrison. Hello, Debra.
Great to be with you, Nancy. Thanks so much. Hello.
I am grateful that you're here, and I kind of wish I was hanging on the beach with you. And it's okay. I will at sometime soon.
Yes, you will.
Yes. Before I bring on Debra, let me share a couple of quick updates and announcements in the wonderful world of Women's Prosperity Network. And I'm going to start by reminding you this Friday and Saturday is our 2-day legendary Level Up workshop. Go to the website, womensprosperityNetwork.com, and you can see how you can register and join us. And I really want to urge you to make it happen, because this is an opportunity to take that helicopter view. We're midway through the year. And just like Debra's going to be talking about intentional wealth, you want to be intentional with your business. So perhaps you've been sailing along this first 6 months and things are going great, or perhaps you hit a few bumps, or perhaps thrown in the towel. I don't know which place you're at. Bless you. What I do want to share is that with the Level Up workshop, first of all, I have redesigned it specifically for where we are now in this time and place. So if you're someone who's done Level Up before and you think, oh, I already did that, well, you need to come, because we're always leveling up, aren't we? And we've leveled up the format and the content to give you tried and true principles along with today's best strategies for the changing times that we're living in. So get your ticket, join us for Level Up, and we'll see you on the other side, where you will have leveled up come Monday morning. So we love that. And in this whole conversation about leveling up and intentionality and paying attention to the things you're creating in your life, I would say that the conversation we're about to have with Debra L. Morrison is one of the most important that you can have. And it's about creating intentional wealth. We all, most of us say, I want $1 million. I want a big home. I want to travel. I want to give to charity. Okay. You can say all those things. How do you do it? And that's where Debra comes in. So let me share a little bit about her background. Debra is a retired 42-year practicing certified financial planner and asset manager who now serves as a financial and leadership coach for mature women to alert them to the tripwires that other women have fallen prey to so that you can avoid them. This gives you the time and energy to actually define your goals, put timelines on them, and invest properly to reach those goals. Debra is the founder of Women Navigating Finances and the woman behind the mission and the movement. We can do it, women. Yes, we can. Welcome, Debra.
Thanks so much, Nancy. It's great to be with you. And we can do this, women. Yes, we can.
Yes. And Debra, let's just jump right in. And I'm actually going to come in a different angle than we may have talked about, dovetailing off this concept of, intentional wealth. You, like me, probably hear many women and men say, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to have this. And then there seems to be this gap between what they say and what they're actually experiencing.
Well, isn't that the truth?
And so
we're going to bridge that gap today. Yes. And I couldn't agree more, Nancy. I think we've all been in our space of what I call ambiguity or fogginess, right, around our money. And there are a whole host of reasons for that, I understand. And yet, when people say, well, I ask, where are you going? What are your goals financially? And they say, well, to your point, I want more money. And literally one time I came out on my cell phone and I PayPal'd the coaching client I was speaking with $1. I said, now look at your PayPal account. And she started to laugh. I said, you have more money now.
Mm.
So we have to have SMART goals. We all understand SMART goals, and yet when it comes to our money, somehow we do not follow that same prescription. So if we're going to create something in our kitchen, whether it's cooking and particularly baking, where the precision is really much more necessary than cooking, we want to have an idea. Certainly we might have had a recipe in our family, and yet we typically do follow a recipe. And why is that? It's because probably some people have their mouths watering and ourselves for whatever we're going to create, and so we would like to have it come together in a fashion that it's kind of recognizable when we sit it on our plates in front of us. And I then take that analogy, and I'm just always good for an analogy, to our finances. So if in fact we at least want to enjoy the standard of living we're now enjoying, let's put the pillars underneath ourselves to ensure that at least has a darn good chance of happening, because we don't know the future clearly. Yet we can certainly build some good foundational blocks and start to hone, maybe create and hone or dust off some of those principles or habits that will get us there, because it's in the preparation that the acuity to detail is so rewarded. Here we go, rewarded. How many people say, "Whoa, it's my ROI"? When I was in practice, we as a practice put out quarterly returns on the investment portion of our portfolios. And people would look at that compared to the Standard & Poor 500. But of course, around the edges, we were massaging those investment returns with good tax saving ideas and good risk management ideas, such that nothing stood alone. The confluence of our financial lives, it is woven together, women, like a fabric. And we want to know the fibers in that weave, so that if there's a weak thread, it doesn't compromise our future garment, our future success.
Yeah. I love that analogy of the weave of the fabric. And as you're sharing, I'm thinking about so many who have, 401ks or IRAs, annuities, retirement plans, and they think they're well set, and they're maybe pretty good set.
Yeah.
And as I'm hearing you talk about the tax strategies, and I've learned from you over the years that you've been guiding me, the tax strategies, the risk minimization, what is the asset allocation between bonds, and so like there's more to it that you can benefit from, and this is what I've learned from you, right?
Yes.
More to it than you can benefit from by being actively involved, as opposed to a simple park and pray model.
Isn't that the truth?
Let's talk about that a little bit.
We have to get money right more than once in a row. And so I just take an analogy, like when IRAs became available, a lot of people went out and got their IRA. Remember, in the old days, it was $1,500. Now I'm really dating myself. And then it was 2,000. And now, of course, it's higher than that. And yet people tended to go out and just say, okay, I'll open up a traditional IRA, because Roths weren't even around then. And then as Roths became introduced, they say, oh, okay, I'll open a Roth. Well, what should you do? See, that you could do either one, and it's better than not saving at all. However, a large percentage of the distinction between should I contribute to a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA is dictated by your tax bracket that year. We've gone through a pandemic. Some people's income went down, hence their tax bracket went down. But if we're just on the rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, we might have gone ahead and put more contributions in 2000 and 2021, 2020, excuse me, and 2021 and 2022, and maybe this year, into our traditional. And if our tax bracket was lower, these would have been perfect years to start a Roth IRA. You see, so there's always a consideration for our financial moves that we can entertain if we have someone kind of like a little coach behind our ear saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe we do something different. If you happen to be married, you know, and you're just like, oh, married filing jointly, married filing jointly. Well, maybe not, particularly if one of you has had terrific medical expenses in the previous tax year, or if one of you is disabled, or other kinds of peculiarities, if you will, away from the quote unquote norm of two people working outside the home and earning some type of a salary, W-2 or 1099. So these are issues yourself. Oh, my CPA is going to advise me. I hope there's too many CPAs that take the direction of the person. You bring your shoebox in the olden days and they fill in the boxes after the fact. Now, I applaud every CPA who's forward looking, and yet we are the architects of our own success. And I don't want any of us playing the victim card. Oh, no one told me. Hey, listen up, women. There's no time for us to waste.
I had a giggle because no one told me, right? Like, we get to take responsibility right now in this moment, right?
Absolutely.
And as so maybe nobody told you before, but we're letting you know now.
Yeah,
And
we are letting you know now. And the implications, Nancy, of knowing and taking corrective, if you will, action sooner rather than later cannot be emphasized too much. Because there's something that Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world, and it's compounding. And the short version is, if you put $1 away, like this little guy, right? This stuff, or maybe the 50 or the 100 seems to have fallen off this paper clip. But if you put $1 or any denomination away right now into a generally financial or real estate investment, while you're sleeping, it is earning typically dividends, and or the underlying price is going up, and the dividend combined with the original investment goes into year 2 to reap the new dividend in year 2 on not just your original investment, but the dividend that you were awarded because of the structure of the investment. Now, better yet, if you're continuously investing, like many of us, into a 401k, 403b, our betterment accounts, then every single contribution that lands into your account is eligible for a little incremental dividend. And you say, oh, what's that? What's a percent? I'll tell you what a percent is. Over 10, 15, 20 years, it can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. So compounding cannot work between now and 10 minutes from now. Compounding works over a long period of time. So if you go ahead and say to a financial coach or a financial planner, oh, what do I need to make my number at retirement? You know, right now they might say, gosh, you know, if you start now and you save judiciously and in appropriate investments, you know, if you save another $400 a month between you and your partner, if you're partnered, you're going to be golden. And you say, okay, but who has that? And I don't know where I'll find that. I'll just let it go a year. And if you go back to that same person with those same software program and you have the same goals, guess what? That $400 a month now just grew to probably $475 or $490 or $500 a month. You're getting what you're picking up. I trust what I'm putting down. If you start saving sooner, it allows you to actually save lesser to get the same amount in a future denomination of time, 5, 10, 15 years out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, huge. What would you say for, I have so many questions, for people who might feel it's too late? Like I've heard people doing this. Oh, it's a $500 a month. I don't have that, so I'm not going to do anything.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
and this is typical among mature women. I define mature women as any woman 60 years and above. And I do so mostly with the socialization of 60-year-old and older women rather than any ageism. The issue is we have been socialized. Don't worry your little head over that, Betty. You know, Bob will handle that. And so the issue is, and I say, if Bob doesn't die prematurely or come home one day and trade you in for 230s, okay, he'll be okay. But let's not count on our partner of any gender. Let's be about the radical responsibility of taking control of our finances right here and right now. Almost like if we do not go to the doctor or dentist for a long time, and then we have this one appointment and the dentist says, oh, well, to do what needs to be done here, it's going to be $15,000, $20,000. I mean, has anybody had that happen? I mean, I had some periodontal stuff I had to clean up, and it wasn't because I hadn't gone periodically. It just happened. And so if you haven't assessed your finances and then someone lobs a number out at you, it might take you aback. And yet it is about our owning the responsibility for whatever the truths are. Because if we ignore it and we put our head in the sand, it is not going to improve your situation, nor women, nor the feelings that you tamp down, the shame, the guilt, the angst, the worry. What a useless emotion, never resulted in anything but negative. And that has a tendency to take up residency in our cellular body. And then it generally doesn't end well. So all of this, I have gone, my dear late friend, Dr. Susan Jeffers, wrote New York Times best-selling books, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, Uncertainty, Embracing Uncertainty. Pick up these books, magnificent. And in Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, she talks about our intuition. And I think of myself as a financial and leadership coach, as a highly intuitive person, which I am. And I also have boots on the ground 4+ decades. So think of me or any qualified financial coach as your intuition, and couple that with your intuition. And it's like, I got ahead and I come back and say, you guys, around the curve, there's a peril. There's some kind of risk. There's a pothole. We want to steer our financial car around that, if at all possible, because there will be times in life where you'll get hit upside the head with an uncertainty, an unforeseen event, and then you have to cope as well. However, if we can plan more ahead of time. So people say it's too late. Well, unless you have a terminal diagnosis, I'm planning on you living, as I always did as a practicing financial planner, for your living to age 100. Yes, we did. Because it's too late to wake up at age 83 and say, holy camoli, I'm short. Even Walmart probably is not going to take you as a greeter at these advanced ages if you're physically and mentally even able. So it's like insurance. We got to plan. We got to buy the homeowner's insurance before that little kitchen fire starts. And you think, you roll your eyes and say, oh, Debbie, those analogies. Yeah, well, how about we bring those analogies home and we say, have we tended to our own financial garden? Or are we just expecting somehow, with playing the lottery, which I call a tax on the mathematically illiterate, to someday happen into groups of zeros or some relative that you are hoping might leave you an inheritance? Get real. Get real about yourself. This is why I do not like people playing, and particularly women playing the lottery. This is why. First, tax on the mathematically illiterate. And yes, I had 2 clients that had won the lottery and we managed their money. Okay. However, the vast majority are broke within a year and a half. It's like if you went into an alcoholic's house and you took out all the alcohol, okay, you didn't cure the problem. You have to have a behavioral shift, right? Now, here's why I don't like it. A person plays the lottery. I don't. And then at whatever time it is, I don't know, probably 6 o'clock at night, the numbers come out. You used to have to watch TV for it. And you look at your numbers and you go, every night you have hey, how about we talk about what would you do with the money if you won the lottery? And then we go about putting the foundations of planning underneath those dreams, and we do it without the daily disappointment. How about that?
Really good. And with a plan that provides way more certainty and much better odds.
Yes.
Than winning the lottery, right?
Exactly.
The odds. So we're talking about risk and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Deborah, I know when we open up for Q&A, there's going to be a boatload of them, and we'll do that in just a few minutes. I want to touch upon a couple of other things. And this has to do with something you helped me with tremendously when we first started working together. And I made a few, what I now call missteps instead of mistakes. With investing, I was heavily invested in the real estate market, and that went to crap. And then bought some stocks because I got hot tips. And what it felt like is I had great success, in real estate, and then the bottom fell out. And then when I tried the stock market, I lost my money. So, I don't want to, I became afraid to take that next step. So speak to that, and then I'll share my other side.
Excellent. Well, I do love the term missteps, because steps connotes that we're walking, right? We're not paralyzed. We're not stuck in with cement shoes, right? Stuck in our old misstep, because we kind of like cement mistakes. I made a mistake. People came into my office all the time. Women, I made a horrible mistake. Okay, what was it? I'm pen and pad. And then I'd repeat it right back. Okay, you said you did this and this and this and this and that. Yes. Okay, what else? That was it. If that's it, we're golden. See, because Japanese say fall down 7, get up 8. You're looking at a 4+ decade experienced professional. I lived, breathed my profession so seriously. I really unparalleled, frankly. 3 times the continuing education credits each year. And I got caught up in a very expensive groups of zeros Ponzi scheme. Yes, I did, as a financial professional. Now, it was my own money, not clients' money, yet the recovery from that, believe me, it flattened me. I was shame-based for a while. I mean, probably weeks. I was very, very horrified for like 2 full days. Like, I did not get out of bed ever. Then it dawned on me, Deborah, you have 34 clients, don't have any idea what's going on in your personal life. And they're looking for you to be their financial planner today and tomorrow and the next week and month and year. And I got myself out of my victim role, and I put myself in my chair of being the professional that can recover, regroup, pivot, prioritize next steps that will lead to healing and financial recovery. And I did both. There was a whole lot of grief. I actually am a grief coach. And so I pepper into my coaching grief recovery strategies, because I think before even the pandemic and the Great Recession of 2007 and 8, there was a pall that was cast across, at least certainly the United States, where people's 401k became 201k, all the vernacular. The issue is we just got it tamped down, and we need to take those shackles off and face forward, because there may be several decades we're going to seed now that will bear fruit in the season that will pay for the dreams and the goals and the necessities, of course, for our futures. So I like to think of past missteps. We will keep stepping. Hey, if Warren Buffett can admit to, I don't know, Dexter Shoe, and I could name them all, I think 6 or 7 billion, with the B, billion-dollar mistakes. Who are we, you, us, to think we're going to go through this investment journey without ever making a less than great decision? We are not. So get over it. Maybe your child brought home straight A's every 6-week period for 12 grades. Probably not. So did you kill the kid when they brought home a C and a D and an F? Absolutely not. You burned a tray of cookies. Did you say, I'll never bake another cookie? No. Forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves.
Yeah. Forgive ourselves, move forward. And quite frankly, if I was to work with someone, which I do, which is you, I want somebody who's can relate to the ups and downs and ins and outs and how I have felt through it, and how to get back up and what to do when you get back up from a misstep. And that's what Debra has done, for me and countless others. So huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
forgive ourselves. It's good. And the other piece of the puzzle for me, and apologies if I'm talking too much about myself, but it's my show. No, just kidding, y'all. The other piece for me is some of the language and information. I have attempted to study this stuff on my own. Like years ago, Tony Robbins came out with this big fat book about money, and I bought, oh, I'm going to learn about money. But it was like so dense and thick, and it wasn't easy. Then I start coming to classes with you and have sessions with you and watch your videos, and that's taught me more than any book ever has, because I get to ask you questions.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's where the learning happens, because and also in a group, I mean, one-on-one is beautiful. In a group, someone else has that same question. So you're exactly right, Nancy. We want to have wins. We want to, because women, we have little wins, but we don't celebrate them. I'm celebrating our wins, especially if we're just coming back from a misstep, or we're stuck in a place where don't know what to do next. So I'm not going to do anything because then I won't make a mistake. Well, listen, procrastination is costly, really costly. So that's not a choice. Take it off the table, not a choice. So basically what we want to do is put our foot on a solid rock, not a slippery one, a solid one, and then another one and another one. And now we have some perspective, you see, not just like, I'm a loser, I didn't do that right. We're going to put A's on our report card, and then we're going to look back, and no reasonable person can say that A doesn't exist. It does. I'll remind you, you got A's. Yes, you did. And we're going to forget any of the past that's been holding us back and shackling us. This is a serious matter of self-forgiveness, women. We forgive everyone else at the expense of forgiving ourselves. And let me go one further. I always think in analogies. So if people think, oh, she's off on another analogy, you're right. If it was not important for us to attend to ourselves, I mean, if you know a psychologist or you are a psychologist, you know that this is reverse thinking to just be completely outward focused first and then ourselves maybe, right? So if this psychology of dealing and serving everyone else before we serve ourselves was sound, I can guarantee you that the airlines would have a recording something like this. Are you ready? If your chair has arms on it, hang on. Ladies and gentlemen, if the airplane will lose cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop from the ceiling. Men, put your own oxygen masks on first. Women, search for anyone around you to put the oxygen mask on them. Look several seats in front of you, several rows behind you. If everyone has their oxygen mask on, then if you have enough energy left or wits about you, go ahead and put your oxygen mask on.
Not what they say. What we do
don't go out of there saying Debra hates men. Oh, please. I am simply saying that, see, there are systems in our socialization that we need to catapult just to come into our own sense of personhood. It's a fact. I didn't make it up. I am recognizing it as a hurdle that women have that men don't have. All a white man has to do to perpetuate sexism and racism is nothing, right? Because a system does it. The white man in that case has to say, wait a minute, I am not going to stand for that kind of language that demeans people that I know and love and that are human beings like we are. And so we have suffered as women through the pandemic, a lot of lost jobs, a lot of lower wages. We have wage disparity, which most every single person has felt in their life. We also have body size and attractiveness hurdles. I just read about this. This is horrifying to me. So if you don't think we are already, behind the start line of the quote unquote race to become financially secure, then I'll give you the stats. I don't have to. There's not a woman on this call or listening to the recording that doesn't understand we are start at a disadvantage. So all the more reason we need to turbocharge our radical responsibility, our intentionality about getting our car headed in the right direction and taking little steps now that will graduate into bigger steps so that you can join me. Here's my Hawaiian Island mug, and you can join me on the beach, because yes, you can, but not by saying someday I'll.
Yeah. So good. Debra, we are at the halfway mark, and I want to give everyone the opportunity to ask questions. I'm sure you've got lots of them. Everybody's saying, preach it, Debra. Yeah, we need this. We need this, women, and we need to come together with someone like Debra leading the charge, because her extensive background just continuously blows me away. And the second thing, she has no vested interest in recommending investments. Her only vested interest is in my financial success and security.
That's it. That's it.
Huge, huge. All right, Debra, I know you've got a few things coming up. One of them is an opportunity to continue learning from you with a masterclass that you're hosting. So tell our audience a little bit about the masterclass, and I'll get the link in the chat for everyone.
Well, thank you, Nancy. Yes, I am offering a free masterclass on June 28th, noon Eastern time. And we're going to spend an hour together, and I'm going to delve into what I call like the 5 pillars of success. And these will be very, very foundational, if you will. And I will give you examples. Now, I already did one for my mailing list a couple of weeks ago. Trust me, I'm going to always bring different examples. So please join us again if you're able. And this will be an opportunity also for me to, as I say, give you more touchstones so that you can relate. I'm interested in bringing all the women to the financial table. And so if you don't have the vernacular, I'm going to talk in language, translate finances into English so that you have some language. If you don't necessarily have an idea of where you are and next steps, we're going to deal with that so that you have some shirt in this game besides, your own financial security in the future. But I want to bring it back present day. And so I'll do everything in my power to identify some tripwires, because you can know about how to make money. Some of you know more about that than others, and we'll teach you how to do that. And yet then something can come up, like an example of these, your adult child asks you for a $5,000 loan gift, which is all the other loans. And it kind of can throw us off kilter. And we want to stand in our personal power, committed to ourselves and the plan we have set in order to not be derailed, if you will. So these will be, and I'll give you very tactile examples as to how to recover from shame, how to know whom to trust. Nancy touched on that earlier. I don't know. It's horrifying to me. I have unwound unsuitable sales, variable annuities of several $100,000 to widows who needed the liquidity. And so the perils are many in the world of finances. Some of them have to do with investments, and some of them have to do with how your car insurance policy reads, what coverages you've selected, right? Your liability policy. Fun to say, one lawsuit can ruin your whole morning, right? So like everybody go all myopic about, Tesla stock versus, what's ChatGPT doing to Microsoft stock? Let's get global so that these groups of zero risks don't sink us all the while we're trying to figure out Tesla versus IBM or Microsoft. I want us to have mutual funds that spread, exchange traded funds that spread out the risk over 8,000-10,000 names, so that one bankruptcy like Enron, which everybody thought was great until it wasn't, right? That can sink your financial ship. We don't need to go there.
Wow. All right. So so many things have come up and so much goodness. Let me do this. We've got lots of people in the chat. And I see that I'm going to get there's an issue with the form, which I will get fixed when I bring on our next caller. So Laura Barker, thank you for letting me know about that. I'll get that adjusted. The website is wecandoitwomen.com/masterclass. So wecandoitwomen.com/masterclass. And give me just a moment. I'll make sure that everything is working properly behind the scenes. While Adele Alexander, your line is open.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
beautifully, my
Okay,
friend.
great. I am so glad I got up this morning for this talk. I have just recently gotten into actually paying attention to my finances.
Great.
I have a small hobby business. I'm retired, but I realized that I had nowhere near the kind of savings that I needed to. And I am going to be starting a new job in August, even though I'm retired, so that I can improve my savings. But I have like a small IRA, a small saving pension from when I worked for the school district that I've left alone, but I have no idea what to do with these things or what direction to go into next.
Mhm.
And I am, as you say, one of those older women that needs to get on the ball quickly, because both of my parents lived into their 90s, well into their 90s. So I'm thinking I got a good chance of being up there, but I'd like to do it comfortably.
Absolutely.
Where do I start is my biggest question. Where?
Sure. And it's an excellent question. I want to, and I'll expound more on this on the 28th. We want to go to the most likely source for great answers. Now that sounds like you're like, oh, Debra, hello. Okay. But if you go to your insurance agent to say, what would my best first step be? I can almost guarantee you most insurance agents will say, well, buy this life insurance policy because they have a hammer and they see every challenge nail able to be solved by a life insurance hammer or a variable annuity hammer. Why? Because they pay very big fat commissions. So you do not go in, you do not open your spice cabinet and pull out cinnamon if you're making, a vegetable quiche. You don't, you open a different drawer or a different drawer for the tool best suited for what you're about. You are looking for advice or certainly direction, not a product. So if you go to an advisor who is compensated through commission, it doesn't take a big leap to understand they're not going to eat, nor are their families, without sales of products. So you want to go and coach with a qualified financial coach. I'd be happy to talk with you about opportunities to do that in a group or personally one-on-one. Or you seek out a fee-only fiduciary financial planner. Now, NAPFA, if you can put this in the chat, Nancy, NAPFA, NAPFA.org is a great place to start. And no, you don't have to deal with someone at the corner of East and Main of your hometown. When I was in practice, I had clients in 28 states. So we can do business anywhere. And it's incumbent upon you to select a person who does not have their agenda as number one or number two or number three. Your agenda is number one. I had 34 clients and I had 34 agendas and none of them were mine. And guess what? I had client retention. Nobody was walking away because I was giving them value. So now I will make a caveat and we'll deal with this later, but there's a lot of slippage, and I fault the regulatory bodies of financial advisors big time for this. Now, and I just got a little notice in the mail. This guy had fiduciary stamp on his little advertisement. And yet underneath it says a planning offered through his name, planning organization. And then underneath it says insurance and securities offered through his name and a little sub-insurance company through which he sold the policies and earned the big fat commission. So here's how you do it. It used to be, we could say, advise you, ask if they are a fiduciary. No more, because like this guy puts out, and many, many, many thousands of others put a marking on the fiduciary because doesn't it sound idyllic? perfect, no vested interest in anything but your goals, no conflict of interest. So you can't just say, are you a fiduciary anymore? Here's the question. When I work with you, will you ever earn a commission off of anything that you suggest to me or I were to buy? Will you ever make a commission? And if the answer is not flat no, shake the dust from your feet and go. Now, I'm not saying all commission people and product people need to be, banished. No, we want them. We want them for the knowledge about their product, but we do not want them for advice because they're not equipped to do that. So you go to the planner who has all of these facets of financial advising and then ferrets down to say, yes, you're a couple, but I'm going to say life insurance on you and long-term care on you. And this is the type. And now we go product shopping. But I don't want you opening the, saucepan drawer if you're going to, make popcorn. See, in every other aspect of our life, we get this. And then we kind of because finances have been raised on a farm. Finances have been over here in a little silo off to the side of our wheelhouse of common sense. No longer. Bring it right here. Boom, dealing.
Yeah. Adele, how was that?
Yeah, because I have worked with a financial planner, but I don't even know the answer to those questions because I just got into it with somebody that I knew from another organization I go to, and it was someone that I trusted. So I did make an investment, but I'm just not sure what's happening with it. It's like someone had written in the chat, I've been living with my head in the sand, and that's definitely a description of me. So suddenly I realized, I don't know if it's just the inflation going on, but my money's just not worth what it used to be worth. And I want to make sure that I have enough to, because of my age, I definitely want to be more secure. I guess that's the final thing. Yeah,
for sure. Now, let me just say the one I unwound 3 huge unsuitable sales. In the one most horrific case, the woman was a widow. She had gone to church. She and her husband had gone to church with this insurance agent 42 years. You want to talk about trusting a friend? So, trust me, these salespeople are very skilled. Here's what it goes like. Wanda, you're a Wanda widow. I'm so sorry, the passing of your husband. Now, Wanda, I'm going to bring over the death benefit check, or I'm just going to come over and talk with you. And so I get in front of you and say, Wanda, at a time like this, you don't want to take any risks. Do you want us crying her eyes out? No, I don't want to take any risks. Bob would have had me solid. So we're not going to take any risks, and we're going to put this right here. You'll sign on the back of the check and you sign it over and it's going to be guaranteed, right? This is slick. It works, especially when people are leveled and are dealing in an emotional bubble, not financial and not logical. So it's not like, who can I trust? My good friend, even within your families. So these are important distinctions to make, and we'll flesh this out later. So thanks for that question.
Thank you so much for your information.
Yeah, she's amazing, Adele. So definitely join us for the master class. And then Deb has a 3-part course coming up. And this is the best investment of my time as well as my money in learning about money so that I could grow it, get back into investing. And it's total game changer,
And I especially liked what you said, Debra, about the vernacular and making it understandable, because my own specialty is translating English into English for regarding medical stuff. So I really like that line. Thank you.
Absolutely. Completely.
Good. All right, Adele, look forward to having you with us on the class, June 28th. And I apologize for misstep. Forgive me. I forgive myself. Everything is fixed on the back end, so you can register. Go to wecandoitwomen.com/masterclass. Let's go to our next caller. Phone number 301-437. Good morning. Who's calling? Area code 30.
Good morning. My name.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Hi. I learned about WPN about 6 or 7 years ago, and I just been completely out the loop because I just been in the rat race with the 9 to 5 job,
Mhm.
and I literally just quit my job because of I want I want complete freedom. And so when I saw wealth, this blueprint for wealth, um, and I'm a health coach, realizing that I had to quit my job because it was literally making me sick
You
because
know,
health is your wealth. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And so I've been working towards financial freedom and wealth creation. And what Debra said about financial planners and insurance brokers, I was relying on them to manage my money instead of managing my own money. And that was a huge mistake. So I had to take responsibility. And I did that by taking some financial classes, some training. And now I am being able to, I'm empowered to manage my own money. So with the stocks and the mutual funds was really all that I did. But I just recently tapped into the Bitcoin space, and there's a lot of controversy about Bitcoin, but one of the platforms that I'm in, it's actually making me $7,000 a month with a 36% return on my
You
investment.
do.
mhm.
And then there's I because I'm in this wealth group, I also learned about this debit card that's tapped into the marketplace like Amazon, and they actually double your spending power. And so a part of saving is not spending so much money. And I'm just I'm just excited because I'm going to join I want to go to the workshop and learn more and grow. So I just want to come on and just say thank you, and that it's so important to diversify your portfolio. So my one question is, the one thing I don't have in my portfolio is gold. So Deborah, what do you think about gold?
Well, gold is thought to be an inflation hedge and so forth. The liquidity of gold is not, is no liquidity, and it cycles very, very drastically. I like people to be very firmly ensconced and invested in the stock market, be it U.S. and also foreign and international, and to a lesser extent the bond market, in order to lay that foundation, and then the alternatives, which are Bitcoin falls into cryptocurrency, the alternatives, um, uh, just so tons and tons of variations on that, can occupy like I think of a pie, our investment pie, right? And so I like to have, like, I don't know, 28-30% in like US large stocks, right? Standard & Poor 500 kind of things, which are really standard fare, so that the ups and downs, see that that alternative space, with where cryptocurrency investing falls, those cycles are very high and very low. Now, the high is very exhilarating and the low is downright depressing. And often women, and particularly, panic when any trough situation occurs. Instead of simply saying, oh, this is a cycle. We should get cycles, women. This is a cycle. And so what we want to be prepared about when we invest in any alternative are these huge. And so we have to say, oh, instead of saying, oh, that's horrible. You wouldn't have 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper in your recipe. You'd have a little bit, because a little bit goes a long way. So you have it as a diversifier. Excuse me. What caution I'll throw out about cryptocurrency investing is, of course, the precipitous drop in the price variation is extreme. And the aspect that the cryptocurrency people were marketing minorities, which include women, because a lot of minorities feel like, oh, I'm undersaved, and this is going to get me there quickly. It's a get rich quick kind of thing. And I would just say, proceed with a great deal of caution, my fault. But back to your earlier point, a lot of people spend the first half of their life making this at the expense of their health. And then the last half of their life, they spend quite a bit of this trying to regain the health that they otherwise compromised or lost. And so again, I like to go, I'm your intuition, 42 years. I went ahead, I'm coming back telling you the truth. Like, okay, here's the cliff notes. We don't have time to read every word of every chapter. Here's the cliff notes. There's a test, and the test is going to be, are you going to be able to quit your job when you want? Are you going to be able to quote unquote retire or kick back when you want, while you still have your mobility and actually visit beaches like this or mountains or whatever floats your boat? Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So much. And, diversifying your portfolio with the right asset allocation to achieve your goals. And Debra, I don't know if you're going to do this on the webinar on the 28th or not, but there's a process you do called a goals life timeline, which is fantastic, so that your investment strategies match your goals. So
Yeah, exactly.
so cool, so cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And kudos to you. Congratulations for stepping into your financial freedom. And perhaps now that you don't have your full-time gig, you'll be able to join us at Level Up this weekend. Sounds like perfect timing. So check that out, womensprosperityNetwork.com/level up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. We got a couple of questions in the chat. I'm going to bring on Laura Barker, then I'll bring you the questions from the chat. So Laura Barker, your line is open.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, Debra, it's just so good to see you.
Same here.
I just really want to give a testimonial, because Debra has pulled my head out of the sand. I literally was afraid of money. I mean, you'll hear Debra say, pay attention to your money and it will pay you. And boy, is she right. So I got hooked up with Debra's coaching, going to the classes, some private sessions. I mean, this woman is brilliant, just hands down, nothing else I can say, but absolutely brilliant. And she doesn't just talk about just money, right? Because she understands the grief, the shame, the fears that surround money and women in particular, right? Now, if y'all know me, I'm pretty successful, right? But golly, I was not successful when it came to money management, right? And so I have learned so very much and put it to use. And that's the other thing. She does accountability stuff too. So let's get it done. She's all about action. And Debra, I just cannot thank you enough for what you have done for me, because I was just literally head in the sand, couldn't think about it, didn't want to look at it, afraid of it. I mean, craziness, right? Just craziness. But that's where I was. So ladies, if you guys, we all have blocks, right? I don't know anybody who doesn't have some blocks out there in our brains, right? And around money, we all have them. Debra does the practical, but also the mental, if you will, to overcome the fears and blocks, so that we can all be intentionally wealthy, which is just, don't you love those words?
I
Debra,
love
you're the
that.
best.
You're the best, Laura. And you're what a great student. And so most of what I do is like up-leveling women's confidence. You see, you're brilliant. You're a brilliant attorney, brilliant businesswoman. And you either or both had the courage to say, I'm going to take a chance on this, Debra. Or you were so sick and tired of the pain of your current situation and not having a clue about your money that you said, I am not going to continue to do whatever I've been doing and expect a different result, because we know what that is called in society. So it was either you're just in so much pain. Like I say to some people, have you suffered enough? And I'm not being smart. Have you suffered enough at your own, in your own pain, that your own wherewithal is not going to be able to extricate yourself from that suffering anymore? And so what do you want to put in the ground and seed and water and have sunshine come onto? Seeds of despair, because they also compound. Yes, they do. Or do we want to plant confidence and then gather together as women and say, atta girl, Laura, thanks for that victory, Susie, Julie, congratulations, etc. This is what we can do at Women Do, is we are about community and uplifting ourselves. If you talk to me about law or anything else in your specialty, you would have me in a proverbial snowdrift in less than 3 seconds, right? And then we'd be in our proverbial snowdrifts. That's silliness. As women, we want to band together, and it's my penchant in life. What gets me out of bed in the morning, because I could be on an island with an umbrella drink. Yes, 44 years now. Yes, I could. And yet there's too much here. I understand too much pain that women will otherwise trip into if someone isn't there with the lantern and saying, this way, this way.
Mm.
Thank you for your lantern.
Right. So good. And she could be on the island, but instead she's here with you, for you. I love it. I love it. So good. Laura, thank you for joining us, and kudos to you for picking your head up, right? That's what we all want to do right now. Pick up our heads and move forward with Debra's lantern at the helm. So register. wecandoitwomen.com/masterclass. Everything should be good with the registration process right now. So go ahead and register. If you have an issue, just send me a message and I'll make sure that you get all hooked up. 2 questions from the chat, and we're going to wrap this up in the next 3 minutes. So question number 1, do you do private coaching?
I do. And there are options on my website, womennavigatingfinances.com, work with Debra. So take a look at that. And so, or ping me, we'll have a conversation and I'll give you a calendar link. The issue is that often we can just cover a world of ground, 101. I really prefer that 3-month session, because boom, 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 boy, we'll bring such specificity and a lot. I'll throw out a lot for you to be thinking about. And it's just like when one idea spawns another idea, and then the spark, turns into a little campfire, and now you're really juiced and jazzed about it. And that's the momentum on which we build. And boy, I can take you from complete financial chaos to congruity and kind of really formulate the goals and the objectives and so forth. And then, as Nancy said, I have a goals investment timeline, which I invented, and I think it's pretty snappy. So we can do a ton in just 3 months. So if you're looking to supercharge your investments and your, not just investments, that was a misstatement. If you're looking to supercharge your confidence and your trajectory towards your financial security, now we're onto it. You will be best served to invest in yourself. And if you don't want to do the 101 and you start with the group, God love you. And yet let's start now, because you might be thinking you're starting in New York and going to San Diego, and you're headed up towards Toronto. Best to know that sooner rather than later. Now, I'll go you one more thing. People sometimes say, well, I don't want to meet with her because she's going to tell me I need to save, just like the little example she threw out, $400 a month. I don't have $400 a month. Guess what? Maybe you don't have to save more per month. Maybe you just have to stop investing in those bonds, which will never keep pace with inflation and taxes over long periods of time, and invest more into stocks, and do it judiciously, not just throwing a dart at the Wall Street Journal. And so maybe you don't have to save any more at all. You just have to channel it better. It's diluted over here, wheel spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be not wheel spinning. You could be traveling at the speed limit, or maybe a nickel over, towards your financial goals. How's that?
So good. Amazing. All right. We're coming up on the top of the hour. Register for the class. Debra has so much to give. wecandoitwomen.com/masterclass. And if we can get this in quickly under the wire, 60 seconds. Lawana Bradford asks, what are your thoughts on traditional IRA versus Roth after 59 and a half years? And that might be too much for you to delve into right now.
Yeah. First of all, let's be clear. If you are taking traditional IRA monies over the bridge, that's a tax bridge, to Roth IRA land in order to get tax-free accumulation from there until the end of time, then you have to pay the tax on it. So let's be clear. When you have Roth IRA monies, whether you start with them or you convert traditional to Roth, those are the last monies you're going to touch. Don't be thinking of, well, I'll get it into tax-free land and that'll be really exciting because in 5 years I'll take it out. No, don't even go over across the tax bridge then. You see, that's a more of a long-term perspective. That's an estate planning tool. I used to train people, and we have their investments here, and I would literally say, "You're going to die with this. You're going to die with this." They kind of look at me. I say, "Yeah, you are." And those are going to be the best ones to pass the legacy to your family and friends and charities. And so it's best to know this stuff in advance. And so I can't give you a blank answer. It is a very integral planning piece that it's best to get right, because you can dovetail that conversion strategy with the charitable giving. And I'll talk about that on the 28th.
Woo, so much. So much. All right. Debra, I love you. I thank you personally and on behalf of all of the community of Women's Prosperity Network. You're amazing. And I encourage every single person that's listening in to this live or on the replay, register for the class.
Come on in. The water's fine.
Yeah, the water's fine. I'm going to quote you, because wherever you're at right now, it's not your fault and it is your responsibility.
Oh,
so I quote you all the time. It's great.
I'm putting a period or the explanation at the end of that. That's wonderbar.
There you go. All right, everyone, get out there, make it a wow day, register for Debra's class. See you at Level Up, because we're going to level everything up right now. Yes, we are. Thanks, Debra. Bye,
Thank you so much.
everyone.